as we head on back towards the harbor here, and since we're still out here in Lake Superior, well, I think it's time to talk about the other big thing that Lake Superior is known for. So, let's tell a shipwreck story, shall we? The shipwreck story I'm going to be telling you is not quite like your average shipwreck story. I could be telling the story of the M.F. Fitzgerald, for instance, which went down in 1975 in that big storm off the Whitefish Bay on the other end of Lake Superior. I could be talking about some other ships that have just flat out vanished, like a pair of French minesweepers from the First World War. But instead, I'm going to tell a story a little bit closer to home because we're practically right on top of the wreck right now, in fact. This wreck here didn't happen on a stormy day. It didn't happen in fog. Nope, it happened on a perfectly clear and sunny day back in June of 1902. There was hardly a cloud in the sky. You could see for miles around. It was arguably the greatest looking day ever. Nothing bad could possibly go wrong, right? Right? Into the story comes the first vessel of our story. It's a steel whale-dive freighter called the Thomas Wilson. She was launched back in the late 1890s in Superior, Wisconsin, just across our harbor, in fact. And she had just finished up loading up her cargo of iron ore, which she would be taking to a destination on the lower Great Lakes. However, as she was steaming out through the canal, if you've been there to see it, you would have noticed something a little bit funny about her. She had left all of her hatch covers still open. Because back in those days, everyone knows the saying that time is money, but back in those days, they meant it. They didn't care if you had left all your hatch covers still open. If you could get going, you would get going. It didn't matter if you had left crew on shore, you would get going. And so as a result, the Thomas Wilson steamed out of the canal with all of its hatch covers still open, meaning in theory if a wave were to go right on top of her, well, her cargo holds would have filled with water and she'd sink. But at the same time, it was a perfectly clear and sunny day. Nothing bad could possibly happen, right? So she steams out of the canal, she's starting to head out, and then here comes the second boat of our story. It's a little tugboat, actually. This little tugboat sprints through the canal, going as fast as this little engine can provide. It goes right past the Thomas Wilson because it has to deliver an urgent message to the third boat of our story, the George Hadley. The George Hadley was another big steel freighter. She had a full load of coal coming into the harbor, where she'd be unloading it on the Duluth side, or so she thought. Because just as the George Hadley was getting lined up for the canal, that little tugboat pulls up alongside, and the captain of the tugboat shouts up to the crew of the Hadley saying, "Hey, you've got a change of orders. Remember how you were going to Duluth to unload all that coal? About that, you're going to Superior now instead, so you have to change course and head all the way across the harbor, so make sure you're doing that right now." The captain of the Hadley responded back saying, "All right, that sounds like a plan. We'll change our course right now. Thanks for letting us know, and have